works in our schools every single day on repairs. We have a separate environmental health and safety division that monitors the work that we do on a daily basis, and we have a pretty vast responsibility when it comes to environmental issues in New York City public schools. And Sarita Thulma, who's coming, will give you the full view. But top line is lead in water is us. Lead paint inspections is us. Mold is us. IAQ is us. We do cooling tower inspections, which could be Legionella on the area. All of that is us. We partner with the SCA, who's the capital arm of the New York City Public Schools, but just to kind of give you a scenario, I repair the roof, SCA comes in and replaces it. We have a referral process where we speak between offices. When I can no longer maintain something, SCA steps in and does a capital repair. We work with CECs to drive the capital repair request, where every CEC gets 5 choices of a brick and mortar capital repair that they need to happen at their schools. This is a capital repair that you see outside this building. This is way beyond what school facilities could do for your building, of repointing the entire building, replacing the roof of the entire building, replacing the windows for this entire building. It's important work to put this money into New York City assets so these buildings could be here not for the next 20 to 30 years. It's not an easy process, right? It is tough to walk into a building this age and do this type of work and still be operational. But SCA does do a good job at it, right? They have a lot of experience doing it, and none of these decisions and nothing that is done in a vacuum, right? And I kind of want to go over some of those processes to explain them and take questions for you where you may think or where that process may have broken down and where we need to do a better job. Nobody's perfect, right? If there's something that was not right, that you feel was not right, I want to explain it to you. And it might not be the best answer, but I'm going to get you that answer if I can't answer it. Right? So before this job takes place, SCA does a full review of this building. They look at all the components of the building and what may be impacted by replacing that component. So if this was a window replacement, they're investigating anything that will be disturbed because of that window replacement. For instance, if that pipe is going to be disturbed when I take out that window, I have to test that pipe. And I have to abate that before that window can come out. There may be no asbestos-containing materials on that wall, in the lintel, anywhere near it. But if I'm going to disturb that pipe, I have to remove that pipe jacket before I take out that window. And that's the kind of work that they're coming out here to do prior to starting that project. That work is done when the school is not occupied. There are third-party consultants hired outside of the contractor to make sure that that contractor is doing everything correctly while the process is going on. So the abatement takes place. Signs are put up, restricted area, and now we do the abatement. Now it comes back to turning that classroom back over to us. There's air monitoring that takes place throughout the entire process. Continues to take place while those air samples are brought to a laboratory to be checked for any issues. That containment area stays as if it's a bad sample. That is up and running, still continuously taking readings. And then once the lab gets the reading that it's good, then we can break down the containerization. Until then, it must be in place. And here's the thing, if it was a bad result, we would shut this place down. No ifs, ands, or buts, that room is shut down. Whether the school administration agrees with it, no matter who agrees with it, we are going to shut that room down. We would not open that place. In this case, once we get that clearance from the SCA, it goes to our custodian engineer, who works with the administration to tell them, you now have clearance to open that building. And that room is then reoccupied and not before that. All right, so that is basically what needs to happen for this job, for the continuation of this job, and every school in New York City. That's the program, right? On the SCA's piece. Now, There was a secondary abatement that took place in the school, in the closets, right? That came up. So in the closets, during a visual inspection, and if not everyone's familiar with our lead protocols, we visually inspect this building 3 times a year in targeted areas. And the targeted areas from first grade and under. Custodian engineers who are RRP, repair, renovation, and paint certified by EPA, which is above and beyond. Our custodian engineer actually is licensed to do the repair. We train them to that level just to inspect it. So when we see paint film, and in this case there was a paint film curling, that's not the hazard. The hazard comes when we have to correct that condition. Because the first layer is paint. The next layer is plaster. The brown coat after the plaster, asbestos is a bonding agent, right? That's where we're testing. So if that would have been a closet where it was gouged and broken into, that room slows down. But when it's the paint film, the disturbance would come when we are repairing it. And that's why that must be done under an abatement protocol, which happened here, right? So that is done under abatement. We do the air monitoring, and then we paint. If the substrate was perfectly intact, we paint the wall. There's no disturbances. These things are in the building. We have to know that, we have to live with it, and that's the way we run our jobs. They are here. They are present. They weren't brought here by the construction. They were here before anyone got here, any of us. But we have to be mindful of them, there's protocols for them, and we have to work around them. Now, from what I see, all of the protocols were followed when it came to the abatement. Letters were given to the school, and the rooms were opened. So I'm just going to pause there for a quick second to see. I said a lot. I just want to make sure that if there's any questions right now before I move on to, just more in-depth conversations about what we do. Yeah.
So you're saying that asbestos is dangerous
if it's
until you guys have started some kind
so
of work on it?
It can become dangerous or fireable when I deconstruct it to do. If I had to take this wall out, it's fine right now. If there's asbestos containing ground in the bond code behind here, it's fine. If I were to take that wall out, I would have to do this under a containment. There are negative pressure in here, removing the air. There is containment that has to be done to EPA, state, federal standards to do this work. But left alone, it's fine, right? There is no hazard to it if it's intact and it's fine, right? But it's here. It's part of our New York City life. It's in our buildings. We have buildings that are 80 years old, right? But these improvements, while we're making improvements to our assets, we're removing this stuff at the same time and eliminating it from the building. So the next time we have to do the windows, it's not airing. So it is a progression, right? We change tiles, we put new tiles in, the old tiles are gone. There's a progression to remove these from our system completely, but they are there, right? And SCA takes the utmost precautions when it comes to this stuff in our schools. Safety is a priority. Health and safety of your children are a priority. My own kids are in the public school system. My wife's a teacher. It's a priority to all of us, right? In our schools and in this profession. Yes.
So I have a question. Due to this letter that was posted on,
Yes.
it was posted 4/14, which was the day that spring break started.
Okay.
So it was 7 classrooms.
Yes.
One of them being my daughter.
Okay.
That had emergency asbestos removal started on the 14th of April. When was that noted and detected that those rooms needed emergency?
So when we see that, I think this is one of them. So when we see paint film, we don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see paint film in your door inspection. So that's when the process started. Now we send this to our EHS division, who works with the SCA, and say, what is the substrate behind that paint film, right? That's when it's determined that there is asbestos-containing material in that ground coat behind it. So we treated it as an abatement to remove the paint, because you could disturb it if I don't know how deep I have to scrape in order to make that surface flat again. So it's handled under an abatement because it's there, right? So that's what made that happen the way that it happened. Because if there was no asbestos-containing material behind it, then we could have did that in the house.
So in the report that got filed and sent out, it states April 10th is when we noticed it, April 14th is when this was posted on the door. Why were the students in the classroom?
So-
April 11th.
So if the disturbance would have came when you actually did the work, there's no if there's a piece of paint film, there's no disturbance. The paint itself is not asbestos. The next layer is plaster. The next layer is the finish coat, and then you have the brown coat. The brown coat is what's asbestos. So the actual paint film is not friable asbestos. So you could wait to do that repair when you're out, and when they're digging in, scraping, that has to be done on the container. That is why it did, and like I said earlier, if someone would have did something with a hammer and broke into it, we'd shut the room down.
That was my major
We would have definitely 100% shut that room down. If the ceiling was to come through and I see the brown coat, we'll shut it down. Right? And that is the training for our custodian who is RRP certified. And SCA is here. And I will tell you, this is not a resource issue. Right? No one's trying to save resources by, this is something that never gets told no. I mean, I am in this business 20 years. No one has ever told me no. When we pick up that phone from the SCA, when we make a phone call, emergency come, they come that day. And if they will shut their school down, if they have to, that's just our program.
So our son's on his C class. So after the abatement, I asked the school if you guys cleaned the room.
Yes.
And they said they did.
Yes.
But that night when I go home and ask my son and like 7, 8 other kids, they said the room is very dirty and dusty.
Understood. So if I was to abate this room, see these chairs, cover them with plastic. On the contract, I'm putting, before I touch that wall, I'm dividing this half in plastic. Nothing's getting to that side. Containment with full negative pressure fans pulling out, that could have been dirty, nothing to do. Listen, not that dirt is good. I'm in the school facility business, we should never have dirt anywhere. But that doesn't mean it came from that. It could have been pre-existing. It wasn't part of the job to clean all the furniture in here first, then move it, and then it's take the furniture, move it, plasticize it, put up the barrier. It could have been dirty before, right? Not that it should ever be dirty, right?
Exactly.
Ever.
Yeah.
And there are protocols.
I would add to that, Joe, sometimes when we remove asbestos from the plastic wall, run the tests, everything's visually clean, it's all good, then you declare it finished and the plasters come back and replaster that.
Yeah, or it could have been negative plaster, right? Like the repair itself, but not ACM.
They'll get dust all over the place sometimes because they know it's not asbestos.
Yeah. So
Because the teacher had to ask the kids to use like Lysol white over that, and it turns out very black, like the paper, like the Lysol white is black.
and that shouldn't be.
That shouldn't be.
And when it comes to general construction, there is a process. You know, I have to hold my folks accountable. We should be telling the SBA vendor, you're not done here. You did work in room 514, you didn't do a good enough job. Get back in here and clean before I sign my name.
Who should be doing that?
So it's two people, two parties involved. It's our custodian engineer representatives here at night, right? This is whoever's here at 10 o'clock at night, and the contractor has four, you know, SIGC, someone on the job. Before they break for the night, we walk together. Walk through 514 with me. Good, not good. We look for tools. We look for things that people left behind. You know, people are working, hammers, screwdrivers, to make sure there's nothing there, and we sign off on it. We have to do a better job of signing off
So
on
you guys need to do
it. Obviously, if you're telling me
Yeah.
that kids are cleaning with Lysol, right?
Yeah.
They didn't do a good enough job.
Yeah.
There's no way.
If I could just chime in to your point, you have different general contractors in different buildings, different ages. So identifying an issue like that, fully agree with you.
Yeah.
Your child should not be coming into a
Those
space
child
like that.
should have to license
But
like
yeah, it
that.
shouldn't be the teacher's job or the student's job.
Absolutely not, and it shouldn't be, and here's the other thing, I have to defend, my folks that work here every day cleaning school, they shouldn't get extra work because of this item, right? They have a hard job as it is, they're not subsidized to take on the work of a contractor who's already being paid to do work, right?
So you guys
So,
should pick a note.
So, to your point, there's a collaborative piece that, based on what you're telling us, we're gonna do a better job. And what that is making sure that there's an evening walkthrough across any spaces that they're doing work in, to prepare for students in that space.
They do all the classes. So we have a custodian engineer who manages this building every day. If this lunchroom isn't clean enough, we work with the principal, and there's a escalation process. But when it comes to construction, we shouldn't be subsidizing a construction company to do extra cleaning when they're paid to do it, right? Our job is to hold them accountable to what they signed up for, is to come in this building and clean it properly, do a job and leave, right? And I think, Steve, we're not arguing on that, right? That's my job, and he has his job, right? But that we could do better on.
Yes.
Right? And but I just want, I want to separate where we're letting kids be in a room and where it's dirty. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
The principal should be an advocate for that also. She should be doing a walkthrough. Her staff should be more informed to look for these things
And to be
also.
honest with you,
It shouldn't be just on the custodian. One custodian can't see the
You're
whole
saying the principal is not the expert.
no, I'm
We
saying.
we defer to you
I'm
and the
sorry.
okay? So I don't want to put on this focus. She brings it to everybody else's attention, which she hasn't in the past. And she failed to do it. Are you her lawyer? No, I know, so no 45 years.
Guys, hang on, we're one voice at a time.
Just to be fair to the process, I wouldn't want to pass that work on to the principal, just like I wouldn't want to pass it on to the principal. There is somebody responsible to do that work for you. I want them to do that for you. I don't want to have, the principal should get your school ready in the morning for kids, but I don't want to pull them away from that when it's already paid for from a contractor to do it. And listen, you're right, the principal's responsibility is to have the whole building. I get you, right? But we have to play our part for the principal as well. It's unfair if someone's not standing or assisting at night. I want to make sure, and I don't want to point fingers at anybody, this is all I do, I try to right.
So I have to insert that.
Okay.
Room 507, when you walk into the room, on the left corner, there looks like there is a piece of wood that is just painted, not quite sure if there's a hole behind it. That's forming.
一个东西上到这边去，上到那边去，你放到方过做什么？这个那个实际后才开始。是 end of the day 的时候，2点才扣除。
So here's what I was saying. Remember, it could be asbestos, that could be ugly, it could be that, but when I remove that piece of wood, I gotta see what it's into, right? And any way I remove it, we're gonna remove it to the protocol that it needs to follow. It may need to stay like it is until you're out of here in June.
Correct.
And then,
that's fine.
and we always
But I want
wanna,
it to be,
and we'll make sure, the idea is to always make this place better. And as long as we want to work on that as a community, listen, Aaron is new to this area. He's the one who saw your program. That's where his eyes were. This was not someone else looking but us, right? We have our attention on this. We definitely want to do a better job on it. There's no doubt. I just wish I was here Friday to talk to you because I feel like I should have been here, and I do apologize for that. Yeah.
So you mentioned testing that was done.
Yes.
I know that another parent had reached out to you several times requesting, requesting information regarding the testing and the results.
So I'm not
So-
aware, not to me. I'm
Okay,
not the-
that's fine. So would those results be available to parents?
Testing results, I am fine with sharing whatever we have for the occupancy. I share that with our labor partners, just like I said earlier. None of this is done in a vacuum. Everything that we get, we give to Ed, right? And you can have, you're giving to everyone. Whatever we have, you can have it. right? It's not.
But we're told that, and then like nothing
Parents,
happens.
give it to everybody. Like I have no problem sharing that with you at all, right? It's not to inundate you. We just wanna. Everything was okay, right? There was no test results that came above an action level. There was no exposure to let
We
people.
were supposed to have that back in March as an SLC.
We wouldn't be here. We didn't
Oh,
have it.
understood. And we'll give it to you. I didn't
So
know.
why you guys didn't give it to us in the beginning?
I didn't know. Listen,
Your
I
staff might know.
well, what's that?
Your staff should know, right?
No, my
We
staff.
have emailed you guys.
We work with
It's not
custodial
even-
engineers. We give it to, listen, our job is to make sure the custodian follows their protocols, the room, that's where my focus is.
Right.
Right,
And you are doing your
that's
job.
my laser focus
We're
every
not
day.
asking you to email.
You know, but again,
We're
I
asking you
have
to
no
post it.
problem sharing that. And just to let you know, if something was above the action level, we would be notified. Right?
Does it have to be above the action level? Like, is any bit of
No.
exposure like something that we should know about?
That's,
at all?
yes, you should, but there was no exposure, right? So
Besides this classroom, there was no asbestos exposure?
There was asbestos abatements, not an asbestos exposure.
And it
We have-
wasn't-
We have to, like I said, that pipe rack is perfectly fine. But when I remove it, I have to remove it under abatement protocols because it's gonna be interfering with the window.
So-
That's not an exposure, it's a planned, scheduled abatement to do construction work.
I understand. And the school's under construction for like over a year now?
Yes, I
and
think-
so
3 years.
3 years.
So
and it
I
goes
think-
back. And never in this amount of time did you guys get any type of
No.
idea
No.
of anything
No.
harmful to the kids?
No, everything was a planned abatement. When we say emergency abatement, it's because it came from us. Aramis saw it, do that, right? Make that substrate better. It wasn't that, it wasn't like, nothing to do with
In
that.
addition to that, not to confuse capital work with emergency work, that's nomenclature for us.
Yeah.
When we say emergency work, it's something that we want to make sure doesn't become something that prohibits you guys from occupying.
Let me give you another
So
example.
it's collective.
I want to change that radiator. If I want to take that radiator off, I got to look at the pipe rack. That's not a capital plan, but if I can't get heat to this room, I'm calling EHS to do an emergency abatement on that pipe rack so I can do that radiator. That's what we're calling an emergency. It's a priority work.
It's prioritized.
I'm prioritizing the work, not the emergency in the sense that there's hazard. It's, I need to get something done faster.
That word though.
But again, the word is in my world.
It is.
Right, I call it emergency, because to me, no heat in this room is an emergency. So the affiliated work, that's an emergency for me. Yes, it's deemed an emergency, but not a hazard, right? It's a bad play on, it's a bad, but I don't know another way to say it. Like, but that's, when they're saying, when Steve was saying there were emergencies here, that's what he's talking about. Right?
Prioritizing work.
Prioritization of abatements for work.
If parents had notices on that, we would be well aware.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have nothing.
Yeah.
We have to figure things out on our own.
And-
And walk by the school building and see this on the door.
And you know
get
what?
alarms, and we hear emergency asbestos again.
So we will,
So we panic.
we will 100% take that. Remember, laser focus on getting the heat on, getting things done, doing the work. But I hear you. Like, I will 100% take that message back. You know, like I am a parent just like you. I will take that back. I can see the concern, right? I feel the concern, and I want to do everything possible to make you feel comfortable, right? But I just want you to understand the policies, the federal laws, the state are followed to do this work. And I will tell you, our stakeholders hold us accountable, and will hold me accountable, right? Like, everything is shared, UFT, CSA, 32PJ, local, we have all labor partners in this, and we support our labor partners. I don't want my folks exposed either, right? These people work for me, their family, I care about their livelihood and well-being, just like I care about yours. So it's important to us to get that right, and we overtrain to get that right. Yep.
I have a question for the parent here. Where did you get the report that you were reading from?
So I'm on the SLT, and that was sent to me.
So we, as a regular parent,
That
we
should
don't
have
have
been
that.
posted Friday, at our last SLT meeting by Ms. Culkin, and it was failed to get posted to parents.
All leadership again.
I just want to make sure I answer your concerns. And listen, we don't go anywhere. I am here, Aramis is here, your custodian is here, Ed is here, Steve is here. We are here for with this school, beyond this. If there's a smell outside and you don't know where it's coming, you call us.
Oh, I'm
Right?
okay.
But I'm just saying, I'm saying, things change, right? Everything is good right now, but things change. And I just want to make sure you understand, we're not going, this is not just a one meeting, this is what we do for a living.
When the scaffold's gone, we're still.
We're still here, we're with you, right? So understand, you can come to us if things change. And if Steve's contractor's here, they start doing the wrong thing, I want to know. But I'm just saying, like, we are not going anywhere.
We
right?
would like to know too.
Yes, we are, everything is good right now, and we want to keep it that way, but that's our job.
Joe, we have one question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, who's in charge of that?
So removal is the SCA. So remember, the SCA hires a vendor to remove it, and then they pay a monitor who monitor that person removing. The person is qualified to remove it, and there's a consultant that's qualified to remove it that watches them.
So when it ends up in the dumpster outside, it's just sitting there,
That's part right, that's your containment plan.
Yeah, it's on containment plan, yes.
Now,
It's a sealed
here's the
container,
thing.
yes.
I don't,
Supposed to be.
here's my question. Where we see that may not be the best place, right? So, you know, and I agree with you, right? We can look at that. It's safe, but if who wants to see this coming to a school, right? I don't understand.
I mean, the school's been understaffed
Yeah.
forever, this is what our
But-
kids are used to.
yeah.
It's just, I'm worried about what are we entailing,
No.
because I want to
Yeah.
know while we
Steve, you
do
want to speak to that?
Yeah, I have to double check on that because it's my understanding that when they do the asbestos, as you mentioned, we hire a third-party monitor, licensed third-party monitor, to watch and observe the contractor. The abatement contractor is also licensed. What happens is that they remove it off-site right away. They don't keep it. I have to double check, but I believe it's a
But that's different way.
that could be construction waste. That's not asbestos.
Yeah,
They remove it. I have to look. I'm gonna check.
Sir,
It does. I have to check.
like when is he?
Okay, I gotta.
He's
I
always
have to-
double checking.
Okay, then I have to,
Sir. When is he going to double check and give us answers? Because the last meeting, he was double checking multiple things. No, but how? How are we gonna get the information?
This isn't a construction of a building, so children stay here all day.
I mean, double checking.
Timing is expired.
And I also want to see where it is. Whenever we will go out there after this and look at it, they're saying it's removed off-site after the abatement, it could be contracted garbage, but I don't like where it's situated.
Also, how many parents are aware of all this happening? The dojo notification is pretty ambiguous to the meaning. Like, how is anybody supposed to know what's happening in the school?
For this meeting?
Yeah.
Wait, can we keep, yeah,
okay, can I just jump in for a minute? She just showed the picture, it's Sarita. We went into
I introduced you to
Sarita.
Sarita. So Sarita is our Executive Director of Health and Safety at the Vision School Facilities. Her team leads the work, the environmental work that happens in our schools every single day. So I just wanted to.
So I wanted to point out that Sarita just confirmed that asbestos, that abatement container, the baggage there is sealed. Double.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit about the regulations. I'll speak a little bit about the regulations. So when asbestos waste is being removed from the school, it is always by the regulation that we have to double bag it, seal it properly, and only then haul it to the truck. And even in that waste haul, it is double bagged, and every bag has to be labeled asbestos inside the bag. There is no way that asbestos will be brought like a regular construction waste, like a loose material. That is totally non-DEP regulations in the city of New York. And SCA has an abatement contractor like Steve and Joe was mentioning. They're all licensed and certified. And any parent, any standby can take a picture of asbestos loose. If they are pulling it out, take a picture. And always we have posters in front of the schools and the work location asking you to call in the helpline if asbestos is mismanaged anywhere, especially in the public buildings. Right? There is a phone number, there is a DEP. Even going forward, as well, the building still has some asbestos in the building. So if you see anything like that, we are encouraging you to make that phone call. Of course, we are here from DOE. Call us. We'll be here. But as a next layer of precaution, you can always contact DEP, who is our oversight in the New York City.
But I will double check myself.
I think after this,
You need to be trained.
yeah, I would say,
Now-
but just like you did, listen, our custodian engineer is trained. They are the
Yeah,
ones
they
that
are.
walk, yeah, but you can call in whatever you see on the building, but the custodian engineer is trained to walk this building and identify. But just to put a fine point on this with the dumpster, after this meeting, we will go out there. I want to see where it is, where it's situated to the school, and if it needs to be moved to a better place, we're gonna move it, right? Anything that is done, I'm gonna move if it's not right? So it's a concern, we're gonna look at it, and we can change it, and at least we'll verify that it's okay, right? That's the minimum I can do.
And we'll get the verification.
What do you mean? Give me an email. I have no problem.
There's Class Dojo.
I don't have dojo, right? But
Well, Ms. Culkin does.
My wife has dojo, she's a teacher. But I will close the loop with the school, who will close the loop with you.
That's all we want. I think in my position, my fundamental concern is I had no idea asbestos was being removed from the school.
Understood.
Ever, at
And
any
I said, I'm
point.
gonna take that back, right? So we do notify, the custodian engineer is notified, but again, we're looking at that lens, we're doing the work.
Is
right?
there a fine line between custodians knowing and parents' rights to know? Like where, at what point do we get access to what's happening to the
I
facility?
I don't know the custodian, don't overlook it.
No,
I work in the
it's not
city
about
agency.
overlooking it.
I work in the city agency and we look over a lot of things because we're
Yeah.
told to.
Yeah.
We're told to.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying they would do that
I
to
think
children, but
no, we wouldn't, but we're talking about scheduling, right? So scheduling, we have stakeholders at these meetings, these scheduled meetings, and that you have UFT representation, and who else is at the bi-weekly, the monthly testing?
Yeah, sure. The monthly, as I mentioned last week, at our monthly meetings, Chris is there, UFT chapter leader, the principal, myself, and my project officer, Mr. Hassan. And I just wanted to add,
Yeah.
in addition to that, we have bi-weekly meetings. That's the general contractor. You're present. Mina, who runs the meeting, that's his meeting. The monthly meetings are my meetings. I run them. Mina runs the bi-weekly progress meetings.
Is there minutes to these meetings?
Minutes I do. I send to the principal.
Can we ensure that there's formalized minutes that we?
Yeah, I do.
Share that with
She
the-
knows that.
So we share that with the.
Ms. Culkin just shook her head no.
Can we share those minutes of the scheduling with the?
But she just shook her head no. Ms. Culkin just shook her head no.
Yeah.
We do have online weeks
Okay.
where we're speaking, and what we get is upgrade to
Oh,
whatever
yes.
is taking place. That's what we.
Okay.
So let me add also, the principal and the custodian get a 2-week look-ahead schedule.
Yes, we do get that.
You get that?
A week ahead, that is a schedule that says to us,
Okay.
over the next 2 weeks, these
And
are
the
the
things
things
are-
that are.
Yes,
regulations.
when we do the abatement, when we do get the abatement, I just want to say, when we do get the abatement schedule, we do send it as well to the school.
Right, we had to request the schedule, it wasn't coming to us, and then it did come to us. When we get the schedule, it just says for the 2 weeks that are coming, this is what's going to continue. There might be, the additional pieces with the roof being done, or it may be other pieces that they are working on.
That's the construction piece, that's the
Yeah, so
construction.
like the,
That's not the asbestos.
right,
Sorry about
it has
construction.
nothing to do with has to do with like the windows going in and what, if we have to shift the children. That's the kind of stuff that we receive.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, did I miss something? Because your question was about minutes.
The meeting minutes.
Right, so are there minutes?
Yes.
You're saying yes and she's saying no. So which is it?
Chris and I do not get any kind of formal minutes.
So we're gonna, let's try to get everything.
But you see what's going on, right?
I'm sorry, they saying
Exactly, like you did last time.
Just 1 second. I do monthly meeting minutes, and I do the summary of what we talked about, and I do send copies to you guys.
Okay, Steve, let me go and look on my computer.
I do.
Pretty sad that you don't know what emails you're getting on this topic.
We should share that till we look at it. We will share that till we look at it. That look at, should have
It's
everything.
pretty sad that she don't know that she's getting minutes of what she's discussing.
But we don't know if they're there. I want to be honest. We want to make sure.
3 years we're dealing with this and we're not.
This is the problem.
But listen, we're here to move forward.
3 years.
No, it's not about moving forward, it's about accountability. It's not about brushing it under the rug and moving forward.
And honestly, I think that's the, and I think that's the roadmap forward.
This is the first time we're hearing this.
Is for us
I
to
saw
get
it
the
posted on
information.
an electrical thing.
And
So
I'm sorry, sir, just so you know, because you weren't present on Friday, this gentleman over here, Mr. Gonzalez, he had to double check multiple things. So it's insane that he knew this meeting was happening today, yet he still has to double check information.
What I want to commit to here is when we get that schedule, we share that schedule. Right? So that.
Not just SLT.
I don't, and the only reason I say to you is I don't know the way to share it with everybody with the
Past
candidates.
Dojo,
I don't have.
but she does.
I don't have.
She's our representative.
But let us
Because he was in the
I hear
SAT,
you.
and she was trying to
I
make
hear
him
what
hush
you're
hush,
saying.
like,
I want to make
keep it,
sure
yep.
that what we're getting presented with is correct and it's the way it should
That's
be.
who started
You
this.
see it,
No,
and
him.
you know exactly what you're
The
asking.
principal. But
When is this happening?
I don't want to speak on that, that's his thing.
It's alarming when you're walking down the road with your
Understood.
child and you see
I hear you.
classroom that there's
I-
an emergency.
100%.
We had no
But,
notice.
and listen, let's look at the 2-week look ahead report, make sure it has all the stuff that that is going to satisfy your.
Gonzalez sent the report he sent is actually incorrect as well, because he only stated 4 classrooms, there was 7 classrooms.
Well,
He
some of the
stated
class-
additional classrooms that were never on one of these things.
So let's
there's a lot
clean
of
up the
errors.
messaging. But again, let me get you what you're asking us for, right? And I think that's what you're asking for. I want to get it to you. Let me make sure the information is the way it's, easy for you to see it and see the schedule, what's happening in this school, and we will.
In English, so we can understand it.
Or maybe in Chinese too?
Let me look at it and translations, absolutely.
I understand that I'm not
Let me see what they have and what the school's being presented with and how to share that. And that's fine.
And if they're missing things that they're supposed to have,
Say like what?
like the minutes, that
So
Ms.
that-
Culkin said they
and
don't
again,
have, but he
that
said
is-
they do
That is
have.
something we have to, if
But who's going to be held accountable?
we have to work with the folks that are, ones that are supposed to supply the minutes. The minutes have to go to us, they have to go to AHERA, they have to go to custodians. We all, I haven't looked, to be fully, I haven't looked into the minutes. Right, I would, there's a lot of job, I haven't looked into the minutes of this school or any other school, But again, we're gonna look at everything to make sure.
We would like another meeting, yeah, I think.
Yes, look, Aaron, this is.
Not during
what did I tell you
pickups
before?
either.
We're not going anywhere, right? Well, not this time, we learned from that.
Everyone needs to.
Yeah, so again, we will keep a presence with this project. We'll work with Steve.
One of the common themes that, the overarching theme here is communication.
Yeah.
Hold on, everyone here overwhelmingly feels like there's lack of communication. We're here and you're asking for transparency on a construction project, you're getting that and more from us, and you will continue to get that.
But how? How?
We're here.
Less than nothing. Most
streamlining that for this community is something.
Yeah, so we always have, so Aramis is the borough director, who
Who's coming to access this information?
the school, right? I would ask the school to answer that, right? I don't know-
Okay, can they
I don't
answer
know.
it?
We don't know. I don't know, right?
So what was the question? Can we find out who should answer it?
Yeah.
Who should answer
I just want to
it?
answer my part of the piece, and then I want to make.
So please, remember your
Before we get to
question.
administrative questions, I really want to make sure that I'm answering all of the construction-related questions, you know?
Can you walk through step by step how you replace a window?
How do you,
Getting a new window.
if I could do that, I'd probably have a better job. No, I'm only kidding. But
I know you are.
But honestly, you have first measuring the window correctly. The type of window, double pane, whatever. This has the bird strike, I guess, details. But everything comes from an architect. The SCA hires an architect to design the windows here and replacement. Everything, those designs, the scope, goes out to a contractor to bid on the window that comes in, but they're the ones, there's experts
So
involved.
when do you decide to take the old window down?
So, personally,
No.
when I...
The construction who can
So
answer
the way,
the question.
so
Who
that's a
take
great
this
question, I
window
think,
down?
but we also need to tighten that up, right? I agree. The
What do you mean
windows,
tighten that up?
the windows should be here. The windows should be here when we're removing those windows.
And there was private on the house.
Understood. And that's, and again, there's other conversations that we didn't have, but.
And that is causing the leaking,
Understood.
right?
And that's
And
not-
the leaking can cause the, what's that called?
And I just wanna.
See, I need Chinese. I need Chinese
So
translated.
when I say we're gonna get involved in this project, we're gonna make sure that nothing moves forward unless it's ready to move forward.
But this is not happening.
Oh my
The
God,
window's
this
still
guy wants to
missing.
jump
The
in for
rooms
what?
that you were referring to, 501, 503, had to do with also, and also had to do with the beam. underneath. So for that situation, for those windows, for those rooms, that's why.
So
that was met.
there are
I just wanted to
unforeseen
clarify that,
conditions
what
that could happen when you take something out.
It does happen.
That does happen. But in general, we would want to make sure everything is here before we move forward.
It should be always, not in
Right?
general.
No, yes, and you're right, right?
You have other stuff to do, not just this window.
You're right. So again, I think that 2-week look ahead, that communication puts more emphasis on the project. The custodian knows they're going to room 505, takes the stuff here, the window's ready to come out, and then we could.
You've been here 3-4 years already. You don't have to wait. You can't wait 1, 2, 3 weeks
Understood.
with the window.
Understood.
Other
Also-
than there are other stuff, other work to be done.
I agree. You know, but
Totally.
there's also the sense of getting done, moving to the next project, trying to finish, because us being here is a lot on the school. Having the scaffold up, you know, we don't, you said we're here 3 years, nobody works.
Sorry, just thinks it's so
Right.
funny.
I think fall.
I'll answer.
Yeah, this is.
We're looking late summer. Yes, looking at August, we're looking late summer of this year.
Because I think it got postponed for 1 year already. Will you guys postpone for another year? Like, it keeps postponing.
I understand. We're looking at late August. That's what we're looking at.
So that's
Late
what it is
summer.
today, right? But again, that's weather permitting, you know, we want to make, things could happen. But again, I think that the overarching theme is we need to make sure this school is safe every single day with coexisting with construction.
Safe
right?
and clean for all
Safe and
children.
clean while this is happening, and yes, I would love for them to be out of here in August, so we can clean the school and open in September.
So would I.
You know, it's like, that would be fantastic. We take a
Excuse me.
question here. Yeah. So the rooms are checked. So the custodian engineer checks this building every day.
One custodian.
Mm-hmm.
They hear all that.
One.
One head engineer. There's more. All the workers and the indirect employees are also trained.
Is this the
So
same person who didn't clean the classrooms for
No,
the children?
no. This is the person who is responsible, the custodian, not the construction crew, right? The custodian engineer is trained to walk this building
And see dust that's left
It's
and.
definitely.
Then who's not cleaning then? Who's not doing the cleaning job right?
Without looking at the space?
I don't know.
I don't know if it was the night cleaning.
But if
part of it
overall
or-
general
or
cleanliness
part of the-
of the building is a concern, that's us as well.
But how could we trust when you said that they said it was clean and the kids said it wasn't?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we
I-
have to rely on 8-year-olds,
But like-
9-year-olds?
But
to
no,
tell us
it's
what
stems
to do?
from the
I
top of
agree.
the
But when-
leadership of the school,
When
not
Ed-
advising their teachers to notify them that it's dirty.
When Ed said it
It's
could have
poor
been,
leadership.
it could have been a
It's
contractor
I
after
know
the
you
fact,
shake
I don't
your
know.
head.
I
so
I would love to speak it. I
You
don't understand what my
said
piece
you're
is.
gonna check,
you know?
right? You're gonna check who did the cleaning. That's why.
Yes, I did check. Yes,
Yeah,
I
so
did.
who did do the job?
I'm not going there, I'm just telling you, I did check, and they're telling me, my project officer, our project officer, is saying that they are cleaning every night.
So the children are lying?
The children are not lying.
But he's saying they're cleaning every night.
I just want to,
I'll talk to lies.
whatever happens, we're gonna have a conversation. When we sign off that the room is clean, the room needs to be clean. If the room is not clean and it's a contractor, we're gonna push back on the contractor to come in and clean it properly. That's where it
Do
resides.
the kids still utilize the room?
The kids,
They were.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they still
But- yeah.
access the room before it's clean.
yes, yes. But that transaction at night is to make sure, that's the protection, to make sure. And I don't know what happened in that scenario, I don't wanna, speculate, but we're gonna investigate.
So if mobile classrooms and remote learning is an option, why wasn't that utilized by the school, knowing that there were these emergency situations?
We talked about the emergency situation, it was for an emergency plan.
Okay,
prepared.
but there was plaster, there were things like that children should not.
There was
She said it in the last meeting that there was plaster chipping and there was water leaking through the windows. Wait, please. Yes, exactly. I know. So there was plywood on the windows that were leaking. So why would you have children in those classrooms when we have remote learning? There's an option for for mobile classrooms. So who's responsible for that?
So I would say we would never look, if there was an extreme condition in the classroom, we would look to move the classroom.
But they weren't.
Not remote the entire school.
Of course.
But again, you're asking me to talk to something I don't know what happened.
But then can they speak?
Address the question.
Exactly. Please defer it to them. Yeah.
School not clean，给老鼠了。
Wait, I'm recording. I want to hear the answers. Excuse
The
me.
actual boarded up rooms you're talking about?
Look. Since February, for 2 months,
Yeah.
for 2 months.
So why were the kids in those classrooms?
Yeah, for 2 months. And it was, and water came through. And for 2 months, the date was February 27th.
It's 501.
And we
There
don't
was wall
know.
water stains along the radiator.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you're
And you don't know.
You don't know. You always don't know. Why are you here?
We know when the last date was for 2 months.
An issue. They don't know what they're doing.
No, they do. I mean, this has to do with the delivery with the beam issue.
Okay, water causes what?
Right when it was raining?
But it wasn't the
Listen,
water.
I really don't want
That's
to,
not
Whatever it may be.
that is not
We're not
something.
notifying, you're not knowing, she's
Exactly.
not
But
notifying.
okay, no one's being held accountable.
We don't know. Right? We never
But
know.
I 100% hear you.
Guys,
Exactly.
One voice at a time meeting? We're no longer meeting if we have more than one voice at a time.
Yes. Now.
Well, I mean, can the principal at least pay attention during this meeting? Can, oh my God. Can I see?
Nobody wants to go to classroom like
Oh
this.
my God.
2 months.
And she knew this was going on. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. I want to hear.
You're getting kids that is phoned up from the actual third party supervising.
but everything that was done.
That means it was done, it wouldn't have been opened if it wasn't. And then the documentation of that stuff. Of the actual paper, whatever they shared, I'm going to share with you. Whatever, I don't know the details. Yes, I'm sorry. All right.
Wait, can we not call him over?
So last time I went to speak to the principal about my concern. At the end, she got upset and say that if I don't trust her, I shouldn't send my kids to this school.
I understand. I hear you. I'm here to talk about your construction.
Okay, so can she take the floor at one point?
I really just want to talk about
Is this
what
how you guys treat us parents?
Not at all.
Instead of bad,
I understand it. I am here to, as long as you need me to talk about what the construction plan is, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
I want to be fair to why I'm here to talk
Right.
about. I'm not equipped to talk about that, right?
So, okay, if we don't have any more questions about construction, can she answer questions?
And we're not going anywhere. And like I said, things could change, right? But this, we have to.
So when is the next meeting? When is the end?
So let's just wrap this up.
So Joe, I have a question for you. You have a hold SLT, Title I. May I have? Can you come with me to look at those rooms that I want to see what you think about them?
Can you record that?
Because I need to have that walkthrough and know that they're safe.
Can she record it? Can you record that?
Can I take a video? Yeah, I wasn't allowed to even have my phone in my hand on Friday morning, so I just need to hear it from you. Okay.
Right?
So can she record it?
So I am fine with whatever. Listen, I want to make sure everyone's comfortable. You know, that this being, we appreciate it, and that's why I'm here, right?
Right. So who's gonna explain that? Like,
So, but when you're not here, who will be here for us on a daily basis?
So we have, where's our deputy director of facilities?
Okay.
So we had our structural works, Mr. Lazarus reports for the whole city. I report for Brooklyn
And we have
South.
a district manager.
Genesis is the deputy director for this building,
Okay.
for this section of the district.
Okay.
So Genesis works with the custodian. If there's an issue, that custodian here reports to the Genesis. Genesis has full access to Sarita Thuma, myself, Aramis, to escalate any issues at this school. That is the escalation path when it comes to a facility issue in this building. Right? There are folks here, it's their responsibility to react to anything, any emergencies, even to plan that work, right? To make sure that that stuff
can
is
she
done.
explain why our class, like, was boarding up for 2 months?
The windows?
Yeah, exactly. So we would love to hear from her.
Genesis doesn't supervise, she supervises the day-to-day custodian engineer operations for this building. And I don't want to keep going, I just want to let you know, we're going to meet, we're going to look at these 2 reports ahead. We're going to share them with you. If there's anything, like Sarita said, anything in the school you mentioned, the wood screwed to the wall that you don't like the way it looks, we'll look at it. Right? There's nothing here that we're going to turn away from, right? This is not, I'll say it before and I'll say it again, this is not a resource issue, right? The resources have been provided by New York City Public Schools with a chance to make sure these things are corrected in this building. Sarita's team does a great job and has the expertise to prioritize that work and does a tremendous job of making sure that everybody, there's stuff that we do an interim measure, make sure it's good, and we come back to it. There's a lot of thought and planning that goes into running our schools every single day. These folks are on that wall every single day to do that. And maybe, I hear, like Aaron School, there was a communication issue, it wasn't, but we're here to try to do our best to make a turn, right? The principal has a big job, taking care of, making sure the kids are all taken care of, and we have a job too. A lot of that job is for us to take that burden off of the school and do these things. Obviously, that didn't happen the way we all wanted that to happen, but this is a big job. Steve ran into issues with the windows, not the optimal way any of us want to operate a school, including the principal of the SCA. Nobody wants that.
So lax about it.
Nobody. But things do, unfortunately, things do happen, right? There's things that happen outside of our control. We can't put the world in a vacuum and make nothing happen. The best intention was to put new windows in the building, and they fell short. But now we have to make sure we don't make that mistake again. Everyone knows that's a problem. Nobody wants that.
If I may add that there are also, unfortunately, unforeseen conditions.
But then the kids should be removed from the classrooms.
I'm sorry?
The kids should be removed from the classrooms. So whose responsibility is that? No one's answering. Can we please get an answer to that? Whose responsibility is that, to remove the kids from the classroom?
That's not the SCA's.
So whose is it? Ms. Culkin, whose is it? Whose responsibility? No. I want an answer.
That's not for you.
So whose responsibility is it to remove the kids from a dangerous classroom? We're not getting an answer. I'm sorry. Like, whose responsibility is it to remove the kids from a potentially dangerous situation in a classroom? Whose?
I understand.
No, please, let her answer. Whose responsibility is it?
Let's wait for the administration's answer, please, sir.
No, please.
I think it's fair, because she hasn't been fair.
Let her answer.
No, but can you let her answer?
I want to be here to move forward.
I hear you.
But we want an answer. Can you please let her answer? No, can you please let her answer?
Right now is not a safe place.
Whose responsibility is it?
Let Ms. Culkin speak.
No,
please.
what? Yes, let her speak.
Please, be
Who's, no.
I also want to say, no one gave the principal any to move kids out of that room. There was other people here looking at these classrooms, right? And it was
So let's pass the buck. There were other people that could have, they should have, but she's the principal.
We're just passing it on.
But again, if there was an issue.
But why don't you let her answer? But why don't you let her answer? Let her speak for herself.
I understand.
But you're not letting her.
Please.
Please,
sir.
Ms. Culkin, why were the children still in the classroom when there were these conditions that you were aware of? Why?
I'm going to share with you, we were never notified by either DSF nor SCA that there was a condition that we should remove the children. No one at any time shared
So
that
you didn't
with
see
us.
it yourself?
No one at any time shared that with us.
So you didn't see it yourself?
And if there was.
Please let her talk.
Yes.
Please let her talk, please.
So you didn't see it yourself?
Exactly, and then we were.
But she saw it herself. So why should she rely on people that are not in the school to tell her what to do?
And let me just
Let
say,
her talk.
Let her talk. Enough.
We want administration
So then
to
let
talk.
her talk.
I understand.
No, you keep saying I understand. You keep talking. Stop.
So we were invited to talk about the construction.
But we're not talking about that right now. We're asking her
So
questions.
we're standing.
I just want, are there any other questions for
But
us?
she said that it's
Okay,
administration
so
answer.
does anyone have any construction questions? So she still hasn't answered.
退休的校长229的走了。
No, but I want to have her on camera saying that she did see it because she knows she did.
She said she does walk
There are
through
multiple
every
parents who
morning.
know she did.
She told us she does walk through every morning to the whole school. Yeah, last Friday she mentioned it in the video. Yeah. So how come she? But then one time there's no key, right? Oh yeah, to mine.
So Ms. Culkin, we still haven't gotten answers. Ms. Culkin. Sir, wait, you said if we don't have any questions, she can speak.
I have one question.
So,
I'm translating for Karen, right? Yeah. But you guys do these clinics like
So there's different types of cleaning. We do the day-to-day cleaning of the school.
We don't have ESA anymore. Wait, Ms. Culkin, we were asking questions. Why are you leaving?
But again,
Why are you guys standing in front of her?
So it's been a.
So Ms. Culkin's leaving without answering the questions. This is the school's leader. Leaving. Thank you so much, Ms. Culkin.
That's so unacceptable. Not even to make the parents like,
Oh my, she just left like that.
Yeah, exactly. She had people standing in front of her to protect her while she left.
that's so unprofessional. I've never seen such a thing in my life. Is that a joke?
I'm just being honest. I mean, that joke. It's an integrated. I'm not sure. No one. I wasn't here for that.
Should he come to answer the question?
So you kept talking and let her get away with not answering questions. Ah, there she is. Ms. Culkin.
We can have a follow-up meeting once we get all of your information. But there's things you're asking wrong. But there's extra.
Ms. Culkin, so no answer? No answer?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Thank you. I tried to, but she's walking away. I think someone here can translate for you, okay?
I think everyone thought the school days ended later.
Sorry.
I said that because this was a bad time. All right?
So that's why I didn't mean to get rude with you, but you can see what she does. But you can see what she does and what she. But she needs to be held accountable. And you're allowing her to not be held accountable. I know, but we were asking her a question and you kept getting involved. And you. Okay, I'm so sorry. While we have Ms. Culkin,
This is the box station.
Yeah. It's just like concerns, like, you know, we don't know if there's a hole, you don't know what's lying behind it. Oh, perfect.
There's any other? There was another room because I want to start. I actually have to start wrapping up, everybody. I'm sorry. Is there another room you wanted to show?
That was it. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate
So
that.
Ms. Culkin, Ms. Culkin.
Just wrap this up because I got.
So Ms. Culkin, so I understand, but why were there children in classrooms when there was leakages and plaster peeling?
I'm not quite sure that that's correct, ma'am. I'm not sure that that's correct.
Okay.
Because if they want somebody to be moving the children, that would be from the Department of Education and the DSS telling us to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Know him, but recently he's been have cough for 2 months.
Okay.
We take him to see the doctor didn't say anything, and so we said two times. We didn't realize, could possible, I'm just saying, from here, and my husband just said that. But we're gonna take,
So
continually.
I am a lot of things. I'm not a doctor.
I know.
I am not going to tell you. I am going to tell you whatever they did to the protocol that was correct. Whatever happened here, the abatement was done with the correct containment, the correct testing, analysis was done. But that's
The occupancy letter
yeah.
was given before the students.
That I will speak to. But anything else after that, I'm not a physician. You know, that would have to be a doctor. They answer. I get you.
That's
So-
the parents needs to know everything,
But I
like
would say,
disclosures.
yeah, but the answer is nothing. There was no exposure in this room. But that's not,
But
you know.
how do we know if we don't know anything before
No,
that?
understood. And that's why we're here to answer, to tell you what I know, right? I came to tell you everything that I know about what happened in this school when it pertained to construction. That is everything I know, right? There's nothing else that's out there that I'm not telling you.
I just want confirmation because there were some parents in the other room who noted, who actually swiped their fingers and saw thick dust. So yes, thick dust. So this gentleman back here, the taller gentleman, I'm so sorry, I don't know your name. He said that it's SCA's responsibility to take care of that.
I'm just gonna tighten that up a little. It's SCA's responsibility if there's still construction happening in that room on a daily basis. If it's not, then it's part of the daily routine of a custodian to schedule the
So
cleaning.
who's not doing it?
So I didn't check it yesterday, but that's something we would give to the custodian engineer. Anything in here gets cleaned. Summertime happens in a couple of weeks, everything gets broken down, every piece of furniture gets washed in here. There's a time and a cadence for everything in this building. We wash all the walls. We take
That's
down the
fine,
light
but it's not
fixtures.
happening, clearly.
But that's, you're asking me when that's when, right? So you're asking me who? Custodian. You're asking me when? That's the answer. Whether that's happening or not is something we have to look into and support the custodian to make sure that it's happening for you. But it's not connected to construction. So and if there was construction happening in that room, 100%, that's on the contractor. And if I was the custodian, I wouldn't sign off on it till they cleaned it because it's their responsibility,
But
right?
what if that was from the construction and it's still there?
Exactly.
Then they should have, then it's mine, then the custodian has to clean it. So if you're not gonna clean it, you have to clean it now. If the custodian did not hold the contractor accountable to clean it, it's yours. And that's their incentive, to make sure that this is getting done, so it doesn't have to be done by the custodial staff.
If the custodial staff feel in a room where construction was done, and they feel that it was not clean to the satisfaction of the custodial staff, then the contractor has to re-clean the room until it's done.
But to your question, if it's something if we walk in the morning, I'm not waiting for the contractor to come back, that custodian has to clean it. You signed off on it.
Does travel through the school,
And
so
things
it could be
set-
from the other side.
And it could be from
another room.
outside, things
Correct.
settle. But to your question, if the contractor missed it, and the custodian signed off on it, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and kids are coming in, you own it. Now you gotta clean it. You could go have the after argument, but it's yours now, right? And that's to be fair, because the kids are coming. That would be my answer to that.
How many custodians are there in this school? Let's clean this house. I mean, this school.
I don't know.
Where's the custodian?
How many custodians?
No, so there's one head engineer custodian, right? And then they have nicest indirect employees.
How many?
What do we have here as far as 32 BJ? Five.
Five? This big school?
Yeah, so it goes by, yeah, that's about right. How many square feet?
110.
Yeah, so it's almost 20,000 square feet to clean around.
Do the custodians also clean the schoolyard and the?
So they, yeah,
outside the
everything,
building?
they wake up in the
But the
morning.
slides, a lot of facilities are very dusty. always
So
go
that is
outside.
something, that is not construction related. If there's issues with daily cleaning of this building, we are here, right? That we could work on. But-
Maybe, what about you, Angela? How do you make sure your staff are cleaning?
We check it every morning, and what isn't getting done, we do it in the morning.
Who's we?
Me and the custodial staff on site.
You are on site too? In this
Inside
building?
and outside, yep.
And we found out that there's dusty, what happened that time?
Which, in the room?
The dusty.
501.
501.
Yeah,
Have
and,
black dust on their desk.
Yeah, can
Yes,
you follow up
but-
on that with your staff?
And
follow up?
100%, I think what we should do is monitor the room before, and that would be my advice, is to monitor the room before construction happens, and then look after.
But why didn't she do it?
Well, she didn't, we don't, I mean, this is an isolated incident, we don't know what happened then. I'm just saying, what she's doing her best, and that's what we were asking her to do now, is to take a picture of the room, and when they're done, take a picture of the room, speaks volumes, right? Hold them accountable, we're here for you, all right? If you need help, you let us know. We wanna make sure you have the support that you need. This is, part of our team, right? But again, that could have been an isolated thing with I don't know. It could have been done to Ed's point after the wall was abated. But I really want to make sure we move forward correctly and put our that is our best practice, is to take a picture before someone's in the room and after, right? We share our best practices because everybody doesn't know everything all the time, right? We want to make sure that we learn from everything that happened. You're a learning custodian engineer. We want you to be successful. That is the path forward to make sure we get the best result in the building.
Who does the custodian report to now? You?
Yeah.
And who do you communicate in the school?
The DDF.
And who do you connect with us?
Everybody's not.
No, school,
Yeah.
school, to our school.
So,
She
custodian.
liaises with the principal.
Principal.
Custodian, deputy
Yeah.
director, liaises with the
Yeah.
principal.
And then you tell the principal that all schools clean. Correct. That day, every day.
The custodian sees it
No,
every day.
because the construction going on.
So the construction gets signed off at night.
Right.
If there's a transaction at night between the night contractor and the cleaner that's here at night.
how long?
So who signs off on it?
So the cleaner at night signs off on the construction. That's the policy. If it's not, if they miss something, then it falls on the custodian in the morning to take care of it. And then the custodian has a conversation with the project officer to say, hey, you missed this, I cleaned this, but next time you need to do a better job.
When the-
It's a continuous.
I see. And then when the classroom teacher and the students find out the room is not clean, what do they do?
So you have there should be a escalation path to report anything
And then
that
what
you see
do
in the
our
classroom.
principal do then?
Tells the custodian.
But then how come that our kids are cleaning?
It keeps happening, yeah.
Classroom.
I don't know.
That we can speak.
I don't know.
Okay, but then when you say you don't know,
I understand, but it really is.
Ms. Culkin?
Yes, but it
Are you
really.
aware that there's rats and roaches in the school?
Yeah, therefore.
Yes, so many rats.
Because,
A lot of children say that.
Yeah, children are complaining, you know that, right?
Rat.
So we got an important.
We haven't got any question answers from you.
We need answers, that's why we're here.
So.
Is that reported then to the
So
pest
pe-
control?
So pest control, when you have a sidewalk shut outside is Steve. Pest control is with you now outside, right?
I'm sorry?
Pest control?
Yes.
Right, so pest control is with SEA when there is a construction. They take over the pest control for the building because of the outside condition. So if that stuff is given from the custodian to the SEA.
can we have documentation of this
I'm
that,
gonna have to inquire with my project officer.
Yeah.
This is the first I'm hearing about rats, but I'm gonna double check.
but you said he's supposed to have been doing stuff. Okay.
His staff.